Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders prediction video. This is the only prediction video on the internet that counts, in our opinion. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl. Round 15's concluded. Why were booed off? Wigan misfired again. Trinity are smashing it. Take note, Craig. And Hull KR are now 4 points clear at the top of the table.
Right, let's get into it. I don't know where I've got this bloody name for hating Trinity, but for never backing Trinity. I give them loads. I give them loads of like pats on the back. I think they're doing incredibly well this year, but for some reason you lot are giving me shit, saying that I don't give them any credit. But
as he sits there in his Leeds Rhino shirt.
Well, yeah,
very neutral, that is, mate.
No, well, I don't profess to be neutral, but what I am saying is, in fact, where's your team colours anyway? Oh no, you're down there in the Championship, aren't you?
No, I'm just neutral, mate. Neutral like Steve always was.
Yeah, of course.
Sky Sports.
Right. Anyway, let's get into it. So we've got some great games this weekend. A bit dismayed that current reporting on the Sky website doesn't appear to be any games on proper Sky, I'm calling it at the minute, which is a bit disappointing, isn't it? And no Thursday game either. What's your take on that?
No Thursday game. That boils my... I love a Thursday game, as do you. So, yeah. What are we going to do on Thursday night now?
Well, we're going to be hightailing it to Scotland. I don't know if you remember, but we are heading all the way to John O'Groats.
Sit in a van with you for 10 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be belting. It's a shame we can't listen to a game on the way up. We'll have to have some kind of conversation. I don't know how we're going to get on.
We'll be all conversationed out after the next 40 minutes.
Exactly. Exactly. Right, Karl, should we get into it then?
Yeah.
Right. So,
rapid fire recap.
Some great games from round 15. Kicking off then, Castleford took on Hull KR.
Cass 0, Hull KR 48. The Robins scored after 3 minutes. And as we know, if they score in the first 5-10 minutes, the floodgates usually open. And that's what happened. Castleford just couldn't handle them. Absolutely just firing on all cylinders, aren't they?
Next game, Saints took on Leeds.
Saints 18, Rhinos 4. This was a Leeds team that was just error-strewn, and my God, did it show on Brad Arthur's face after the game. Saints red hot on this occasion. Looked like it had a bit of a Lee Briers stamp all over this one. Some great tries scored by the Saints.
The incredible, the unredoubtable, the amazing Wakefield Trinity versus Wigan Warriors.
Trinity 16, Wigan 10. What a performance by Trinity. Downed the Super League title holders in dramatic fashion. And, there was a lot of noise coming from the east side of Hull after that game.
Yeah, great game. Okay, moving on then to the Saturday, we had a Warrington taking on Huddersfield.
Wolves 16, Giants 24. Huddersfield carried on where they left off last weekend, and the Wire fans really now, as patience is starting to show with Sam Burgess, booed the side off at full time. Got to dissect that a bit later on.
The dismal Catalan Dragons took on Lee.
Great performance by Lee, party all round. Some people had one too many shandies after that game, I think. But yeah, Lee were great. Catalan marked improvement on last week, but still not enough.
And then the final game, Salford took on Hull FC.
Red Devils 6, Hull FC 38. Salford put up a brave performance in the first half. Wasn't too much in it at half time, but the class of FC showed in the second half, and they started to pull away with it, and some great individual performances as well.
Yeah, so there you go. Right, should we move on to this week?
I think we should do, mate. That's what we're here for.
Right, Friday the 27th takes us into round 16 of the Super League season. We're kicking off with first place Hull KR, currently 6 from the last 6, taking on Wakey, sitting 7th in the table. This kicks off at 8 o'clock, and you can watch that on Sky Sports Plus.
All the makings of an absolute classic, this one, isn't it? Who would dare back against Hull KR, though, these days? They're just... I mean, I'll throw some out here now, right? Have Hull KR now secured, in your opinion, League Leaders Shield?
I think this week actually is incredibly important for a couple of reasons. One being this, what you're saying now. It's Hull KR's moment, I think, to just really secure it and give themselves the best chance of winning the League Leaders Shield. And I'll come on to the other bit later on when we talk about some of the other games. But yeah, I mean, they've got to be licking their lips and getting the open top bus ready because it's so close.
We've all been sort of waiting, haven't we, for when KR play Wigan, which is coming up in, I think it's about 4 or 5 weeks' time or something like that. I remember looking on the calendar weeks ago going, right, this is the game that's going to define Super League this year. But then Wigan have let slip again. There's a 4 points difference between them. So even if Wigan beat Hull KR in the fixture in a few weeks' time, KR could still be 2 points clear because it's difficult to see where they're going to lose a game. I think they're setting another record this week for the number of teams that they've nilled in a season. I think it's like a record. It's 5 or something, 5 or 6, something like that. And you just can't see them losing. And I struggle to watch them now and struggle to see where they're going to lose a game. Trinity, on the other hand, they are really pushing the boat out. They are really challenging people with a lot of injuries on the sideline. So this is a great game. I really can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, no, I
don't dare
agree.
Bet against Trinity, though.
Well, this is the thing. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here. But no, what you're saying there about Hull KR, you're right. I mean, there was a lot made on Sky. They were talking about like constantly redlining it the way they are right now. Can you sustain that? Is that sustainable? You know, and at what point do they break? Do they have a lapse in concentration? You know, a dip in energy, a dip in like psychological arousal? At what point does that happen? We can't see any chinks in their armour at the minute.
No.
So maybe, I mean, this all seems like I've set it up. I haven't. But if there's ever a week it was going to happen, like this would be the fairy tale week for it to happen.
Do it.
It would though, wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, do it, Craig. Go Wakey this week, mate. Go Wakey. Go on, you can do it.
All right, I'm going to go Wakey. Okay, you.
I think the thing with KR is they're so consistent out there, and that's even if Willie Peters brings in the odd new player or so, they just seem to fit into the side really well, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of dip in the performances. And with those fans behind them now, it just gives them an added level of confidence. I mean, business end of the season could all change, but in league performances now, I mean, all teams don't they have a dip at some point in the season. I don't know where it's coming with these guys at the minute. Right, are we going to go on to predictions then?
Well, before you go to, I mean, you could argue that they had the dip at the start of the year because,
I mean, they lost one, didn't they, to Wigan?
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. Was that their dip at the start of the season? You know, I mean, they started poor.
One loss.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, though? Like a surprise, you know, not saying it was a surprise loss, but that was a key game, you know, as the two forerunners playing each other. We didn't understand the gravity of it then, but maybe that was the moment where they just didn't have their shit together and they're just going to crack on for the rest of the season. So, anyway.
They didn't set the world alight in the Challenge Cup final, in all honesty. Not compared to the performances in the league. I mean, so I think that's where the pressure comes in. But like we always say with champion teams, they still got the job done, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and I think they set out. Just listening to the press conference and the players like Mini Chella talking at the end of it. I don't think they set out to set the world on light. I think they just set out to get the job done through a gritty performance, and that's what they did. And they were almost kicked to death, weren't they, by an incredible performance by Mark Sneyd. You know, I think a lot of eyes were on George Williams' return. Nobody really expected a triple Lance Todd winner in Mark Sneyd, but it happened. So, and they had that to deal with. So, anyway, this weekend. I'm stuck because I either get shite in the comments from the bloody
God,
Wakey
I thought you
fans.
had thicker skin than that.
I have got thicker skin. I'm going Hulker and Wakey. You can clip this as much as you want. You figure you're just fucker.
I'm going KR as well.
Well, how come you don't get crap then?
Because I say it with a smile on my face.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Right. Okay, we're both saying Hull
And you're sat there in a Leeds shirt, so
I'm never going to win over the Wakey fans.
I did shit to come your way this week.
Yeah. I do have a friend who's a Wakey fan. Yeah, so surely that gets me in the inner circle somehow.
No, he's a Cass fan, mate. He just lives in Wakefield.
No, I don't mean him. I mean Denham. Right, next game. This is really key, all right? So 4th place, Leeds Rhinos taking on 3rd place, Lee. Lee have just leapfrogged Leeds into that 3rd place, and there's going to be a battle, no doubt, for the next couple of weeks to work out who is going to snatch that 3rd place for the rest of the season. Leeds currently 5 from the last 6. Lee a little bit down on momentum there. 3 from the last 6. 8 o'clock, Sky Sports Plus. What do you reckon?
The Lee might be. I don't think Lee are down on momentum, and they played great at the weekend, didn't they? What a following they took to South of France. I know that's completely off the ball for predictions, but yeah, they took such a great following at South of France. I saw reports of like 1,600, 2,000 people went to South of France for a town size of Lee. That's bloody loads.
It's about 10% of the population, isn't it? Something like
that. Could well be, yeah. Yeah, they were having a right party though, weren't they? Including their own.
You can imagine all the taxi drivers in Lee going, where the fuck is everybody? There's nobody here. They've gone, and everyone's in partying with Derek Beaumont.
Anyway, Lee, they were really good at the weekend again. I thought they look like they can score tries from all over the place at the minute. And I know we seem to talk about same players every week. David Armstrong was quality at the weekend. What a season he's had. He really had some terrible games at the start of the year, but when he plays well and he's playing with confidence, like we saw the best of him at the weekend against Catalan.
I 100% agree, and I remember when we went to watch Lee, we did the from the outside in video on Lee. David Armstrong didn't even look like he really featured. He really fit in the team. It was like we're trying to shoehorn a rapid player into a team, and other than that, there was no cohesion. There was no. It just didn't seem to be. It was like hands down by his side, not really engaged, not really offering a great deal. Fast forward to the weekend, and he's almost the focus of the team, which is a strong shout because there's some massive players for that team.
They're learning. I think they've learned how to play with him and get the best out of him. Lamb as well had another quality performance. Got to be up there for one of the top halfbacks of the round. I think Lamb he had a great game this week. He's sort of pushing that team all the way at the minute.
Yeah, no, he is. I can't fault him at all. Can we switch to Leeds?
Yeah, well, I'll gladly switch to Leeds, mate. We spent all last week bigging them up, saying, right, they've finally arrived. They're really playing some great rugby. They're up there pushing the top 2 teams now. And then I watched them against Saints. I was like, Saints played all right, to be fair to Saints, but they didn't set the world alight. But Leeds were just errors all over the park, weren't they? All the way through the game.
Yeah, there was, and no real excuse for that. It wasn't even like they looked tired or, you know what I mean, or stretched, by the style of play from Saints and what have you. I think they were just they were good. Saints were good and Leeds were poor, and it was simple as that.
Yeah, Leeds, there were drop balls, they were caught offside, they were messing around in the ruck. There were all sorts of, and I can't remember what Brad Arthur said after the game. I think he put it down to like concentration, really, didn't he? Because there was no reason for him to dish up that sort of performance how they had been playing the last few weeks, and it was surprising that. I mean, the scoreline wasn't massive, but Saints comfortably won that one.
Yeah, and I can't say much against it. I did sort of identify this as like being a tough period for Leeds coming up, and you kind of played it down a little bit, but Saints obviously thought if we're going to do anything in this league this year, we need a win. We need a win against Leeds because they're mid to upper part of the table. They've no doubt identified Leeds as being a team to target and to take a scalp off, and they produced the goods. So can't really say much about that. And for this week, Karl, what are you saying?
It's at Leeds, isn't it? I'm going Lee. Yeah, I'm going Lee. We're going to go there and take another scalp.
I think it's going to be incredibly close. My heart is saying Leeds, my head's saying Lee, but I'm going to go for, just to make it interesting, Karl, of course.
Go for Leeds win.
I'm going for Leeds win.
Well, it's at Headingley, isn't it? So
yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot.
That plays into your hand. They're always better at home. I just fancy Lee to make underdogs and go there and snatch another.
And it may well happen. There's a good chance of it happening. Really interesting game. I think this is the game that I'm most waiting for. Not just because I support Leeds, but because
no. There's another one.
Difference.
There's another one. There's a one with real intrigue coming up.
Right. Okay. So we'll get onto that in a minute. So what's your predictions? Don't forget, stick it down in the comments. We're really keen to hear those predictions. And how are you rating some of the players as well? Let us know what your take is. We're beyond halfway in the league. In the season, and it'd be good to get your thoughts on how teams are performing. Speaking of performance, Karl, to the south of France again, no doubt it's going to be another hot and humid game. Catalan taking on Huddersfield. This is 17:30. Sky Sports Plus. Catalan 0 from 6, having lost none in the last 6. Huddersfield 2 from the last 6. Catalan currently 9th in the table. Huddersfield sitting 11th on Sky Sports Plus 17:30. Cal,
this is a free hit for Huddersfield, isn't it?
Almost.
I mean, 2 great performances last couple of weeks. Confidence, you would have thought he's going to start getting back into that side. And a Dragons side, well, we all know what's happened to Catalan over the last few weeks. Been dreadful for weeks. Did make a marked improvement against Lee. However, if you're a Huddersfield fan, I think you're looking forward to going to watch this one because I can see Huddersfield turning him over.
Yeah, I'm going to think of like the wider picture here. So I think there's a few teams that are like, there's still a chance they're going to get into the top 6 or be in the running for that.
Yeah, not for Huddersfield.
No, this is my point. I think Catalan they just need to get out of this terrible record-breaking rut that they're in right now.
Yeah.
It's the worst ever. And I think Huddersfield will take whatever they can get right now, and that puts them in a really strong position because if they're ever going to chance their arm, if they're ever going to just go out and play and enjoy the rugby, and do what they can, and take whatever they can, this is it. So I think this is set up for a really, really intriguing game, and it's Huddersfield to lose. I think they're in the strongest position right now, despite being lower in the table. And Catalan, I feel for him. I really feel for him.
Yeah, they were great at Huddersfield again at weekend. Tuilola here, he's box office when he's on his game, isn't he? And he produced that again on that left edge last week, and he just looked awesome and backed up by Gagai, who had a great game. And then Zach Wolford, who we've been talking about all season. At the start of the season, we give him a bit of stick, actually. We were saying, no way is he up to standard. He's just another Queensland Cup lad that's come over for an easy ride. And you know what? The weekend, I've got to say, I thought it was brilliant.
The difference was astonishing, really. He looked lost a couple of weeks ago. Absolutely lost, out of ideas, could not string a pass together, and then this weekend, obviously, player of the match, as we call it nowadays.
Player of the match. But I suppose whenever you're hooker, it's always built on the back of your forwards, isn't it? And because the Huddersfield pack give him some go forward, I think his distribution then from 9 was really good. He had a great game.
Yeah, intriguing from Huddersfield there. I suppose we need to put a little bit of focus on Catalan as well.
Well, Tompkins was back for Catalan, wasn't he? So straight away you get a bit of direction. You get an extra referee on the pitch. I'm just winding him up. But yeah, he's certainly in the referee's ear, isn't he? Certainly gives a strong voice on the pitch, and he gives them a bit of direction, which is strange because you wouldn't usually say that from a full-back. But he definitely gives them a bit of structure, and there was a marked improvement with Catalan. Like I said earlier, though, there was still not enough from them, and it still ain't going to be enough this season. I can't see Catalan finishing in the playoffs. I'm just about to point out, though, did you see when David Armstrong took on Tompkins? There was just a marked difference in speed between them. Yeah, man. Once upon a time, I remember watching Tompkins. I was like, that's how Tompkins used to be when scoring tries. But yeah, his speed's clearly just not there anymore.
I wonder how robust Tompkins is. You know, he's been plagued with injury, for the last few seasons, and I wonder. You're right. He definitely brings something for the team, and I'm pretty sure he gives them a lot of confidence and some hope and faith as well, which I think teams need, because he is a brilliant player. But I wonder how robust he is. I also wonder the dynamic between him and his younger brother.
I know. I was thinking
his coach
about that.
Like that. Like I can't imagine my older brother listening to me and taking instructions from me.
I once read one of Brian Noble's books, and he were on about when he had the Paul brothers playing for him, and he said that like team meetings used to be a nightmare because they used to sit in the video room arguing after a game, blaming each other. He said it was terrible.
Is that when they used to plan the rap songs together as well?
Yeah.
But you should put that clip on it where they did the what was it the
Mate,
which cup was it? What was it? Was it
was
final?
It was when they were playing in, I think it was Challenge Cup final, wasn't it? And they brought a song out.
The rap song, yeah.
Do you know what?
What? You loved it.
I know. I can I can repeat that song. I'm pretty sure word for word.
My God. So you don't need to wear a Bull shirt because
not for this show, but maybe one day.
You'll do
That's
it.
my karaoke special, that is.
Right. Get in the comments, right? Sod this Craig give you head a wobble. Get in the comments. We need MC Walker, right? And the Paul brother rap, right? You need to call it out because we want that on the show. Right, getting away from ourselves a little bit. Anything else to add on Catalan?
No, I'm going Giants. George Flanagan, Tui Lolohea, Jacob Gagai, all playing great rugby. Giants will win.
Yeah, I'm going to back Huddersfield as well. By the way, we got a lot of pats on the back for calling out a Huddersfield win last week. So
we had to get one right at some point, didn't we?
We did. You're right.
These wild decisions that we make, they had to pull off at some point.
Let's move on then. So this one's going to be a little bit intriguing. 8th place, Warrington Wolves taking on 6th place, Hull FC. Wire currently 1 from the last 6. A terrible record from the last 6 at the minute. Hull FC a little bit better, 3 from the last 6. Kicks off at 17:30.
This is what I said to you at the start of the show. I said there was one game that had real intrigue for me. This is it, Warrington v Hull FC. Because effectively, it's like a 4-point game, this is. So I don't think Warrington can afford to lose this one. What will the gap be between Wire and Hull FC if Hull FC win this? It's like 5-point gap or something?
It's 5 at the minute. It goes up to a 7-point gap, which
it's already 5.
So there's points difference of 5. You're right. If Hull FC win, and I don't want to give my prediction away too soon, but there's a good chance it'll happen. Yeah. That will put 7 points between Hull FC and Wire. And who's that between the two? Currently is Wakey, in it. So Wakey are on 15 points, are they? 16. So Wakey currently on 16 points as well. So yeah, this could be where the split happens, where the lower half of the table, are left behind.
Well, yeah,
and Warrington's in there.
A 7-point gap is. That's going to take some coming back in here, especially when they're playing how they are, and the injuries they've got are long-term injuries. So you can't really see them making any difference anytime soon. So this is massive. This game is. Hull FC, right? How did they play at the weekend? Hull FC were really good at the weekend. Lytton had a great game, and Caesar pulled the strings all match. Man of the match performance. Player of the match performance, should I say? It was quality. So I can see this going the wrong way for Wire again.
Yeah, I agree. And reports, there was quite a damning article as well about Sam Powell's performance. It did state in the article that this wasn't a witch hunt, but you've got to sort of think, they've identified, whoever wrote this article, identified some issues.
Rugby League,
so they identified some issues in the Warrington squad and used Sam Powell to portray what those issues were. And the likes of which was like 0 meters made on a number of occasions.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 games he'd not made a meter from out of hooker, and he has played something like 14 or 15 games this season. So, but I don't think that's an indication. It's a little bit of an indication of how he's playing. But there's a wider picture here. If you're playing a hooker, we all know that. I mean, you was master of it, weren't you? 1 yard scoots. Oh, yeah. but at hooker, you can't make runs from acting half.
Can I just say 1 yard tries? 1 yard tries, Cal.
Nine tries total, 9 yards made.
But if that.
Right. So look, we know that if you're playing hooker, if your forwards are on the front foot, then your hooker, you don't get the broken markers. Your hooker can't make them quick scoots. You can't make them quick yards. James Roby was a master of it. Darryl Clark is also one of the best at it, but that was always on the back of a decent Saints go forward in the back. Warrington haven't had that in the pack this year, and I think that's where the issue is. I don't think it's Sam Powell has been the issue. I think it's the go forward in the pack.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Danny Walker, and Sam Powell as well. Renowned for those quick scoots, and making yardage through the centre of the pitch. But like you say, you've got to have a rapido play of the ball. Like he's got to be so quick to present the opportunity to do that. Otherwise, you just ain't going to make any ground. Maybe then add that. Maybe Sam Powell has been asked to play a different role. Maybe he's getting towards the end. Towards his career and. He ain't got that energy.
I tell you
anymore.
what, he don't. No, the thing is though, he does an awful lot of tackling in defence. He really motors in defence. He's probably up there with one of the top tacklers most games. Whether that's taking a bit of energy out of him in attack, I don't know, or whether Warrington just want to play a more passive style of play and come off the back of Williams and Sneed. Could be to do with it. It was an interesting article though, and really interesting stats. And they do. I know it wasn't a witch hunt, but those stats really stood out.
100%. And like you say, if they use that as an example for the entire team, it does make me wonder, like, what other stats, portray what is going on at Wire. It's a terrible time for them. People calling for Sam Burgess to move on as well.
Yeah, what do you think
already.
of that?
I mean, it's a bit preemptive, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's early days, but I think what's going on is a lot of fans are making the comparison with Darryl Powell, and he was pretty much gone at this point of the season last year. I think. I hope I've got that right. We saw it was a similar sort of time in the season. He was given the boot, and I think the Wire fans are. I think it's recruitment they're not happy with, but they've brought a new head coach in now, and it's his only second year. In all fairness, so you can't really blame anybody else unless he's not in charge of recruitment. But I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, he's definitely got to play a part, right, Carl? We need to.
I suppose this is his acid test, isn't it? Now, Sam Burgess. This is. I think the pressure's really ramping up on him. This is the point for him. This is part where he's going to prove his worth as a head coach, I suppose.
Is it doable though? Like, can you see them making the top 6 right now?
No, I can't.
And I'm in agreement, and therefore, like, what has got to happen in order for him to do it, or do they write this season off? Like, what?
Well, they have started making they released somebody last week, didn't they? So they're obviously looking at bringing players in. Obviously looking at the transfer market. That comes to an end soon, actually. So it'll be interesting to see if they get any big names in before the end of the season.
Well, some of those big named injuries are pretty much probably keeping Sam Burgess in a job right now, because I think if they were playing and they were performing like they are right now, I don't think he'd have much of a leg to stand on. So, like you said, the long-term injuries though. Right, so How are we calling it?
I'm going Hull FC win. Yeah, I can see black and whites picking up a win at Wired. I can't see anything in Warrington at the minute that's telling me that they're going to turn it around.
Well, no, they had a plucky performance in the Challenge Cup, and it weren't a million. It weren't weeks and weeks ago, and any hangover from that.
But like Sam said, there's no excuse there for any sort of hangover. They haven't won. What, they won one in the last 6 in the league? I can't see them. Well, you can pick Warrington, mate. I'm quite happy for you to pick Warrington, and I'll pick Hull.
No, I'm going LFC. I'm going LFC as well, but like I say, it's a shame that they're currently sitting down there in 8th place. And I think this is key. I know they have. I think this is literally the point where we start to see a gulf emerge between those bottom tier teams and the ones that are bidding for either a place in the top 6 or already secured their place at the top of the table. So, both going Hull FC. What do you think? Do you agree? Moving on to the next game then, Castleford take on Wigan, and this is at Cass. Cass currently sitting 10th in the table, Wigan sitting 2nd. Cass are 2 from the last 6 and Wigan are 5 from the last 6. This kicks off at 8 o'clock.
This intrigues me for one reason. Is Matt Peake going to make some changes to that Wigan side? Because they certainly had some complacency the last couple of weeks. I've got to be honest, I didn't watch the Wakefield-Wigan game. I've only seen the highlights, so it clashed with another game, didn't it, last week? So, but I've seen the highlights and I've seen all the comments from the Wigan fans who went to the game, and they weren't happy with some players' performances. And I wonder if there's a bit of complacency creeping in with Wigan. I thought the Huddersfield game would have been a bit of a wake-up call for him. Clearly, it wasn't, though.
You could almost suggest that this is like built into Matt Peake. Matt Peake's strategy is like, just take your half the ball. We're sitting 2nd, it's all right. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll put our foot down and we'll just
that's what we know with Wigan, doesn't it? I mean, essentially, it doesn't matter how they're playing at the minute, because you and I know that when it gets to the business end of the season, when them playoffs kick in, there won't be a Wigan side playing with any complacency. They'll be absolutely on it, and we'll see a completely different Wigan at that point. However, you've got to say that League Leaders Shield now is starting to get away from them. From going from winning every trophy last year to now the second one might be slipping away from them. The League Leaders Challenge Cup's gone. League Leaders Shield is in the balance now, and I'd say it's Hull KR's now to win that.
Well, I mean, so Hull KR are currently four points clear at the top.
Yeah.
So, and like, you mentioned like a 4-point game today. In essence, that what needs to happen there is Wigan needs to win twice, and Hull KR needs to lose.
Yeah.
So the variables before
they even play each other and then see which way it goes. That's why I'm saying I think Hull KR are going to take League Leaders Shield now. Can't see it any other way.
Yeah, and maybe Wigan. Well, mind you, I can't imagine the sort of switching off. They must be thinking, do you know what? It is still possible. Let's keep going. But
I wonder if Farrimond will play for Wigan this week. Because he played really well against Huddersfield. I don't think he played against Wakefield. There was quite a few calls from Wigan fans to see him back in the side because he had such a good game. So see what sort of team selection we get this week from Wigan.
I'm just going to throw something out if you don't mind. Just hopefully don't disjoint the prediction video a little bit. But you shared an article with me early on in the week, basically suggesting that some of the young talent or the talent at Wigan are going to get let go, or they're going to be purchased by other clubs, and with no real indication of who that was. And I just wonder if there's some Wigan fans out there that are a little bit in the know that might have a bit of an inkling or have heard rumours or whatever who it is. And Farrimond is one that sticks out in my mind. Like, will they let him go for a high ticket? Or is it someone else?
Well, it was Chris Ladlinsky sort of alluded to it, didn't he? I can't remember, we're in a different article, but he definitely noted that he was basically saying, look, it's a salary cap sport. We can't afford to keep the team that we've got on the field for another season, so there are going to be players exiting. And obviously, like your top stars, like your Bevan French, Jay Field, and each year their contract value usually goes up, doesn't it? So they'll sign a 4-year deal and it'll be like, right, year 1 you get this, year 2 you get this. They're probably getting at that point of some of these players where the value's gone up so much each season that they're running out of cap space to keep everybody. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who exits Wigan at the end of this year and who they manage to keep on, and will they get rid of some of the higher paid, longer serving stars to bring in some fresh young blood. I mean, we know how good Wigan's youth system is. It's like it's just a rolling of quality, isn't it? There's just absolute players that come through that youth system. So it'd be good for Wigan fans if they've heard anything to sort of get in the comments. And who do you think you should be keeping hold of this season for next year, and who you think might be the youngsters that will come through into the side? I'd be interested to know. I
don't think it's those senior players that present a problem, because those contracts, that's almost mapped out. They know what's coming. But I think it's the likes of Faramond who've having like a bit of a breakout year, and suddenly their shop value is much greater. It's like, how the heck, how are we going to keep him? It's and the old brown envelope around the back of the changing room, that's fround on nowadays.
Can't do that anymore.
Right, okay. So on Cass, then some good signs coming out of Cass. However, they're sitting in 10th place for a reason. I don't think they're going to be strong enough to trouble Wigan myself. So
no, a week ago they looked like they were doing all right, didn't they? But then they played the Robins at the weekend, and well, we just know how the Robins are playing. They were just red hot. They just blasted them in the first 10 minutes, and it was one-way traffic from there. And there was a few players playing in different positions for Cass, and just never really seemed to work for them. They have been in the transfer market though of Castleford, so they let Rimbu go, didn't they, about 1 or 2 weeks ago? But they have this week signed Joe Stimson from Brisbane. He's currently in the Brisbane reserve side, playing in the Queensland Cup. I think he's a forward, so they're in the transfer market. They're bringing players through. There's going to be some changes at Cass by the looks of it in the next few weeks. He was also in the Melbourne Storm side that won the league years back, so sounds like a decent signing. Yeah,
maybe they just want to bring in a bit of experience, big game players that they've got that experience, and just keep laying down experience and nurturing the players, nurturing the team, and see where they are. 10th, unlikely they're going to move, from that position, in all honesty. Anyway, I can't see him winning this week, so I'm putting this down to a Wigan win.
Yeah, Wigan win. I think Wigan will have a real kick up the arse this week. Can't see him performing like that 2 weeks on the trot.
Right, that takes us on to our final game, which is on Sunday, and that's Saints taking on Salford. Saints sitting 5th in the league with 4 from the last 6. Salford sitting bottom of the table, propping us up, and they are 0 from the last 6. Kicks off at 3:00 on Sunday.
Yeah, Salford had a bit of they had a good go in the first half, I think, against Hull, and they got stuck into them, and there weren't too much in it at half-time. The one shining light in the Salford side, though, was Joe Shorrocks. However, he's picked up a ban this week, so he's not going to be available, so that's bad news for Salford. When I go over to St Helens, I think St Helens played some good stuff at the weekend. They haven't been quality all year, but there was a marked improvement in them, I'd definitely say that.
Yeah, and some good some finishing that we hadn't seen really. They were used to be renowned in there, making some flying through the air, inches to go, and we perhaps haven't seen as much of that this year. But they were definitely better.
Do you know what was good with Saints this week? Their set plays from scrums. I think they definitely scored one try from a set play from a scrum, and they came very close on another couple of other occasions, and they were 100% Lee Breer's set plays. They were, because I think we haven't seen much of that from Saints this year. But there's some real good structured plays, and they were releasing the likes of Tristan Saylor out the back. I thought they looked good. Got to talk about though Harry Robertson's tackle on Ryan Hall. How good was that?
Well, let's break it down a little bit, because first of all, there was the break from Ryan Hall,
which was quality as well, yeah,
brilliant. But then also he was just swarmed by 5 or 6 players. Yeah. They zoomed in on the TV, and you could just see Ryan Hall like sprinting with his tan, and then 5 or 6 players all around him. And I mean he was 10, 15 yards out. I thought, not a chance. There's no way he's going to make it. He made it to the line.
I know.
He made it to the line, but was denied the try by an incredible effort from this young man.
Yeah, just came in, didn't he? For the last you could see him coming across the field. I was like, he's miles away. He's never going to. And then the last 20 metres, he turned on the afterburners. And just an incredible tackle. The fact that he got under him as well, got underneath the ball, turned his body away from the try line. I thought it was brilliant. And we've shouted about him all season, haven't we? But he's like a real star of the future, isn't he?
Well, he's a star right now. Like, don't worry about the future.
No,
he's incredible right now.
I'm talking. This guy's like England.
World beater.
England international.
World beater.
Yeah.
NRL contract. Here it comes.
I hope not. I hope we get to see him in Super League a little bit longer. But yeah, it was quality. Dion Cross as well had a great game. And
well, Tristan Sale had a great game.
He did.
He was brilliant, on fire, and speaks really highly of the players around him. You know. So
yeah, I really enjoyed his interview actually after the game. He was really humble and just. Yeah, they didn't throw anybody under the bus. They were just like saying, he kept saying, we've got to keep working for each other. You know, we've had a difficult start to the season. Yeah, I thought his interview was class actually, his interview after the game. Right,
so I think we're both saying that Saints are winning this. Am I right in thinking that? So we talk about the margin.
I'm going Saints by 20 points.
Right, I'm going to say it's by 30 points. I don't think it's going to be the nearly 80 point washout like it was at the start of the season, but I think it's going to be significant with Shorrock's missing.
There's a bigger problem for Salford though, isn't there? The HMRC winding up order is this week.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they interviewed Paul Rowley about that after the game. He didn't even know.
Oh, Christ.
So, I don't know.
What is the outcome of that then?
I don't know. I think it's when it's the courts this week. So
yeah, potentially more players putting their hand up saying I ain't.
But there's also rumoured investment coming in now as well. But I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, how many times have you heard that this year?
Yeah.
So that's it. That is our predictions for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you to everybody that continues to comment and offer really good. Feedback on the show, feedback being the breakfast of champions, and we just want to get better and better and doing what we do. So remember to check out our Set of Six, our weekly news show, where we share the good, the great and noteworthy of rugby league this week. And also, Karl, tell us about the Lee video that's dropped recently.
Yeah, the Lee Leopards video is on our channel. It was taken from round 6 of the Super League, but don't worry about that. It's a real insight into a look at the club. We go behind the scenes, have a look at the inner workings of the club. You get to see what the volunteers are doing. You get to go in the boot room. We show you in the changing rooms, all the stuff that you don't usually get to see on Super League. So it's a real insight to that club and the people of Lee as well. We get out into the town, in the pubs, and really taking the matchday atmosphere. It's a great video.
Yeah, so watch that and then let us know where you want us to go next. That is part of a series called From the Outside In, where we take an outsider's look at rugby league in the heartlands. So let us know where you want us to go next. Until the next video, take